Hey guys, welcome to the 11th video in the Python for Everybody series. Today we're going to solve the exercises from chapter 12, which is about network programs. Let's get started right away. So in the first exercise, we need to change the socket program, which I already downloaded. It was provided in the book to prompt the user for the URL so it can read any web page. Okay, so then we will split the URL using the slash to break it into components, and then we can extract the host name for the socket connect call. And we should also add error checking. Okay, let's copy the code first. So I'm getting this from the socket program, which was in the book. So first thing we need to do is for this host here and this URL, we need to get it from the user. Okay, so we are going to use again input. I'm going to get the URL. It will be input, enter URL. Let's put this with capital letters. Okay, so we are expecting a URL from the user. After we get the URL, we need to split it to break it into components. Okay, so let's see first what happens when we use the split function using the slash. I'm going to comment all this, so I just continue working with what I have here, and I'm just going to test it. Okay, let's test it with this URL first. Okay, I'm going to run this, enter the URL. Okay, as you can see, we have this list of strings, and always it appears that the third element, or the one with index 2, will be the host, which we need in this case. Okay, so to get the host only, we need to get the element with index 2. Let's run this again. Okay, that's what we want. Let's test this with another site. Okay, that seems to be working fine. Let's get back here. So this will be the host, be url.split, and getting everything else we need. Okay, now that we have the host, we're going to use it here. So when we do the connection, we're not going to give this fixed string, we're going to give our host. Okay, and here we need to give the URL. So the command will be, I'm going to split this into strings, plus the URL we get, plus this. Okay, and I'm going to encode it here, cmd equals.cmd.encode. Okay, so I'm creating this get request here using the URL I'm getting from the user, and then I am encoding it. Let's try if this works. I'm entering the URL. Okay, and this one seems to be working fine. Oh, it says not found. Let's try this with the URL we had here in the socket. Oh, because there is no document over there. We need to download. That's why we get not found. But let's try something else. So, okay, so this one is working just like before. So the only thing we did is we get the URL from the user, we split it to get the host, and then we construct the request by concatenating the strings together and then encoding it into bytes. Okay, so the other thing we need to do here is that we need to add error checking to handle the condition where the user enters an improperly formatted or non-existent URL. Okay, so what we can try to do here is the simplest thing is to just wrap it all into a try except. Okay, let's put a try here. So we want to handle the condition where the user enters an improperly formatted or non-existent URL. Let's put this into a try and then except here. I'm going to say the URL is improperly formatted or non-existent. So okay, let's try this out. Let's copy again the URL we need to test this with. Okay, so this works now. Let's try to give it an improperly formatted URL. So if I try to remove this, yeah, okay, exactly what we want in this case. Okay, so this was the first exercise. Now let's continue with the second one. Okay, so we need to change again the socket program so that it counts the number of characters it has received and stops displaying any text after it has shown 3000 characters. So the program should retrieve the entire document and count the total number of characters and display the count of the number of characters at the end of the document. Okay, let's go, let's copy again the socket program we already wrote right here. Okay, so so after we do the connection, we receive the data, and here we can try to count it. And the easiest way to do this, so the exercise wants us to only show the first 3000 characters and also to count the total number of the characters in the document. So the best way to do this would be to start an empty byte string where we will store the entire document. Okay, and then the entire stream we are getting, and then just print the first 3000. So I'm just going to call this received, and it will be an empty byte string. And every time we get the data, I'm going to remove this. So we receive the data here. If the length of the data is less than 1, we break it. That means that we aren't receiving anything anymore. But for every chunk of data we receive, we need to concatenate it to this empty string. So I'm going to do receive is plus equals to data. So every piece of data I am receiving, I'm going to add it here. And in the end, I'm just going to print the received document, but only the first 3000. So from the start until the 3000 index, Of course, I'm going to decode it, and I'm just going to print the count here, so it will be the length of the received. Oh, maybe it's better to convert this, to decode this, and then we can continue working with it. Dot decode. I'm going to remove this here. So we decode this from the byte string into a string, and then we print only the first 3000 characters and the length. Then we close the socket. Okay, let's try to run this with this URL. I'm going to enter the URL. Okay, so in this case it displays everything because everything, it is 536 characters. So this should be working just like we expect it to. Okay, I think that's all we have to do for this exercise. Okay, let's continue with the next one. So in the third exercise, we need to replicate the previous exercise that asks us to retrieve the document from a URL and displaying up to 3000 characters and counting the overall number of characters in the document. Okay, but for this one we're going to use urllib. Okay, let's see how we can use urllib. I'm going to copy this code from another, which was provided in the book. Okay, so for this we need to import urllib.request. So I'm just going to do this. Okay, this is the one we're going to use. And now the way that urllib works is that we can request and open a file which is hosted elsewhere, just like we work with files locally on Python. So I'm just going to copy this code here. I'm going also to get the code where I receive the URL. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm getting a URL from the user and then I'm opening it without the context here is, we don't need the context here, so I'm just going to remove this part. Okay, let's try this first and see how this one works. I'm just going to print I'm just going to call this content. And I'm going to print the content. For a URL, let's try the document in the socket exercise. Okay, I'm pasting this here. Okay, so what the urllib does for us, it just gets and opens the contents of the document we are receiving. And it is, of course, a byte string. So we retrieve the document from a URL. We need to display up to 3000 characters and count the overall number of the characters in the document. So that's pretty easy. Now I'm going to decode the content. It will be content.decode. and I'm just printing content up to 3000, and I'm also printing the length of the content. Okay, let's run this, and I'm using the same URL. Okay, so in this case we don't have the headers, so it has 167 characters, so it's showing all, and I'm also printing the length of the characters for this document. Okay, so as you can see with a urllib, it's much easier because it provides this URL open for us, which does the socket connection and gets the document. Okay, let's go to the last exercise for this chapter. So for this exercise, we need to change the URL links program to extract and count paragraphs. Let's get this code first. Remember, everything is in the book, so this code as well. I'm going to copy this. Okay, one thing here is that for this exercise you are going to use BeautifulSoup. Just remember to install BeautifulSoup. So you can open a terminal. If you are on Windows, open CMD and make sure to type, if you are on Linux like me, type python 3 -m pip install bs4 -user. This means that I'm going to install bs4 BeautifulSoup globally for this user. I have already done that, but you can see that the requirement is satisfied. If you are on Windows, I would recommend using python-m pip install bs4. You might need to use --user or not. It depends on how you have installed Python. But you don't need the Python 3 like we do on Linux. Okay, so make sure to install BS4 and then you can continue with this exercise. Otherwise, the code wouldn't run on your PC. So this is the code we already have, and everything we need to change is right here. So we are making a connection using a urllib request, opening a URL, and then we are using BeautifulSoup here to parse this HTML document. Make sure to read the explanations in the book. It's pretty clear and straightforward. So in this case, we are getting all the A tags, the anchor tags, but we need to extract and count only the paragraph tags. Okay, so one simple thing we can do here, I'm just going to remove this part, and this is going to be paragraph. Okay, so I'm just getting the P tags. So using BeautifulSoup is very easy. After you have created this soup object, I can just extract the P tags. Let's print tags here. Let's see what this gives us. I'm going to run this, and I'm going to give, let's check it with this website, which is Dr. Chuck's bio. So for this URL, okay, as you can see, it is giving us a list of the P tags in this URL. Oh, it's pretty long, so it is starting, let's see. Okay, so it is starting right here. As you can see, this is a list, and every element of the list is a P tag. Since the exercise asks us to just display the count, this is very easy. We just need to print the length of this list, because this list, all the elements in this list are P tags. So if we just get the length of the list, we get the number of tags of the paragraph tags in this URL, in this HTML. Okay, let's run this. So it's running here. Oh, I'm killing this. I'm running this again. I'm entering the URL, and there are 7 P tags in here. So this was a much easier exercise. you just need to use BeautifulSoup, which is a very nice library for web scraping and HTML parsing. Okay guys, so this is it for this chapter. Make sure to read the book and also try to work on the exercises on your own. I hope you are continuing and still learning Python, and I hope I can contribute to your learning just a little bit. Thank you for watching again, and try to share, like, subscribe if you want to support the channel, and also don't forget to check out my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.